independence consensus, then maybe we can move on and we can find something else out. And then if you want to, just like you want to merge, like this big PRC company is going to merge the ROC company, at least you have to recognize my legitimacy. I'm a legal company. You don't want to merge with an illegal company if you don't recognize the legitimacy of ROC. That's my assumption about this. So it's still far away to 1C2 system, and because the talk is not going along, so hopefully we can see some talk and resume next year. And just like John would say about those agreements, about those like a firework established by the DPP government, and that's another theory saying if a KMT can win the seat back, then maybe those agreements won't be existing anymore. So that's why a lot of supporters say Mr. Hung has to win the election, so to improve all this situation. So I think that's my perspective toward 1C2S, and it's still far away. And we hope to see some really productive talk, and from now on. And then as long as we are not provocative, and not try to challenge and hurt the mutual interest, I think we should make a really bold move and to make this pathway more smoothly.
Okay, I'd like to answer the question about the one country, two systems for Hong Kong and the young people, what have you. That is an interesting question. When I was in the mainland recently, younger scholars from the mainland were asking, what is with those people in Hong Kong? Why are they so upset about this particular arrangement? Because you see, at the time, in the 90s and in the 80s, we were talking primarily about economics, preserving Hong Kong's wide open, freewheeling economic system, rather than introducing PRC-style socialism, which was still, until pretty much 92, the order of the day. After Deng Xiaoping's so-called trip south in 92, where he said every place should be like Shenzhen. From your history, or if you're old enough to remember that. So they were emphasizing economics. Now, where they ran into problems with politics is while running Hong Kong under this one country, two systems, they had promised to move the country towards more representative government. It was never a democracy, as I said, but there was a promise to open up it a bit so there'd be more direct elections. I don't know if you all remember that, but then they backed up on that. And that infuriated people, young people in particular. But you had, in addition to that, as we said, you had the other problems with the cost of living, the lack of housing, and all of these other things sort of create the perfect storm. Now, why would Taiwan not want to be interested in such a reunification proposal? Well, they're already a fully democratic system, and they already have economic system that works pretty well for them. They don't believe the idea of two systems when one of them's so much better than the other, meaning theirs. And at the same time, the mainland has a somewhat disturbing political system that honestly, if you were running Taiwan, you'd have to sit and go, well, do I believe that? Do I believe those guarantees? I mean, a lot of people don't. And I'm not going to get into the old thing of that some of my in-laws would say, never trust the communists. But it's pretty close to that. There's a lot to lose and very little to gain from one country, two systems. That, just like I said with Hong Kong, they said, oh, they're going to democratize some parts of it, then they decided they wouldn't. So people in Taiwan would be, I mean, they say, what are we getting out of this? And I've had students ask the same thing. They go, sounds great. They get all this, you know, you can take up a post of leadership and have your arm. Why would you need an army? You know, you know. So, like Jianji Guo said, they're going to have to enact more reforms politically in the mainland if they want to get serious about reunification discussions. He didn't even say reunification. He said, do you want to discuss it? You're going to have to change your system. They don't. We talked earlier about this thing with the president of China extending his terms. But I wrote an article on that, and some people will look at it. I wrote an op-ed on that and said, it doesn't make any difference. It was a symbolic move because these terms mean nothing in mainland China. Deng Xiaoping had no formal position as head of the party and head of anything for years. He's just the emperor. The president, they didn't have a president under Chairman Mao for what, 15 years? The president was killed during the Cultural Revolution. These terms don't mean anything because it's a dictatorship. It may not be a commune, they don't have communes and collective farms, but it is an authoritarian regime. And you gotta understand that. And you gotta be careful. It's because you don't know what they're going to come up with. You know, that doesn't mean it's like it used to be. You can get rich. They got the second largest number of billionaires in the world now. Drive cars. We have, you know, fancy cars. We have some American professors who like it over there because they can break the rules, like this gentleman who left was saying. They can smoke in the elevator or get drunk on the street. They say, I've got more freedom in China than I do here. I advise my students, there's 3 things you don't do when you're in the mainland. You do not advocate separatism, you do not challenge the Communist Party, and you do not join the Falun Gong. Okay? Other than that, you can do a lot of things. But it is an authoritarian regime, so you've got to be very careful when you've got a precious democracy that so many people worked so long for. And get into this kind of thing, you have to be very careful about an arrangement like that. As for Macau, that's a good question too. First time I went to Macau, I was stuck an extra day by my travel agent. That's back when we used to use travel agents rather than the internet. I was stuck in Hong Kong for an extra day, so I went over to Macau to just check it out. They had one casino. Anybody know what that was? Yeah. Remember that? That stinky old casino owned by that guy with 8 wives? The Lisboa. The Lisboa Casino. And that was it. He ran the place. Now look at it. You've got all of the, I won't call it the mafia, I'll call it the gaming industry. Has moved in with the Sands Casino, with all of those big American casinos that you see in the movie The Godfather, right? They're all in there, and it's a big gambling center for Asia. I would suspect that has something to do with their income going up and such. Because it was I mean, I shouldn't be so cruel. I won't say it was a dump, but it was not a very attractive place when I went there. And the last time I was there, I don't like all the casinos and stuff, but I saw they had revitalized the downtown, the restaurants, and all this stuff was going on. So that sort of, I think, had a big impact. I'm not a Macau expert. That's just anecdotal, evidence from visiting as to why it's done so well. But okay, I'll let you
know. Sir Winston Churchill ever said so. The public speaking should be like a miniskirt, the shorter